This TikTok video just ended his marriage, and because of it, the guy who's in Italy is now suing a restaurant after they filmed him on a date with his affair and posted it on TikTok. Come on. Talk about not taking any accountability here. Do you know what the simple life hack to not get caught in an affair is? Don't have an affair. But today we're looking at a situation involving a 42-year-old married man from Sicily who went out to dinner with another woman and got filmed by a restaurant for their promotional content. And because of this, his marriage is now over. So he wants someone to pay for it. And I guess that person is not himself, because we are allergic to accountability sometimes. Oh, and it's also worth pointing out that his identity was never officially disclosed by any major news outlet in English nor in Italian, because the press, especially in Europe, goes a little bit out of its way to protect the privacy of its citizens when it comes to them not being public figures. And in Italy, the standard is enforced even more strictly, and we'll see that in a moment. So what we do know is the guy is living in Canania, Sicily, and decides that he wants to take his lover out for a nice evening. But the problem is, this isn't his main lover. This is a side lover. The dude is married. So I guess he makes up a cover story and decides to go with the whole, honey, I have a business dinner tonight. And then he heads out. So that was fine until these meddling restaurant owners wanted to make some promotional content. Because I guess what never crossed his mind was whether the restaurant might be creating content for their social media that night, because that's exactly what happened. And the restaurant staff, they were recording videos for promotion and filming the restaurant during service, showing customers enjoying their meals for social media. Except in this case, the advertising came with an unexpected bonus feature: clear footage of a married guy having what was very obviously not a business dinner, because it was essentially a one-on-one dinner with a woman who was clearly not his wife. And here's where things really went sideways, because the restaurant posted the promotional video to TikTok, and somehow the dude's wife ended up watching it. I mean, that is like one of the most diabolical algorithm pulls. Like, you know, TikTok's over here like, oh, you might want to see your husband here. Like, imagine. According to the reports, the wife's response was pretty much what you would expect. She told him the marriage was done, packed up his stuff, and kicked him out of the house. And the whole thing apparently unraveled just like a few days after the video was uploaded. So clearly the algorithm was working on overtime here. So now, instead of, I guess, accepting that his affair got exposed and dealing with the consequences of cheating, this guy decided to sue the restaurant. And his argument was that they violated his privacy by filming him without permission and posted it online. But I feel like the question most people are asking online is, does he actually have a legitimate case here, or is it like just a cheater trying to blame someone else for his own mess? Well, both could be true at the same time, because the guy is currently being represented by Codicons, which is a pretty well-known consumer protection organization in Italy, and they're taking this very serious because they're escalating this to Italy's National Data Protection Authority. So here you have Francesco Tanasi, who's speaking for Codicons, and he told the media that restaurants can't just film whoever they want and blast it across social media without getting consent first. And honestly, that is fair. I don't think anyone wants to go to a restaurant and then suddenly be blasted all out on their social medias without your consent. And that goes for both ways. If you are cheating on your wife or just having a normal dinner with your family, you don't want your family blasted out on the internet. But the guy from Codicons pointed out that posting videos of customers can lead to seriously damaging consequences for people's personal lives. And yeah, in this case, it definitely did. But honestly, it's also kind of a skill issue on his part. This is like one of the few cases where I'm not on the side of anyone involved here. I don't like that the restaurant did that. And also, I'm not a fan of the guy cheating on his wife. So be in the marriage or be out of the marriage. 1 foot in, 1 foot out is just a waste of time for everyone involved. I'm not trying to sit here and be like some sort of crazy moral authority here, but having some urgency and willingness to make tough decisions, that is kind of a life hack. Make the harder decisions in your life now so your life gets easier. And so someone doesn't take that wrong. Hannah and I are still together, and we've been going on for like 9 years. So, yeah, I digress. But unlike many countries, Italy has some seriously strict rules about using people's images without their permission, especially after the implementation of GDPR. And I guess the relevant laws here is Article 10 of the Italian Civil Code and Articles 96 and 97 of their copyright law. Basically, what they say is you can't just reproduce, display, or profit from someone's image without getting their okay first. So apparently, Italy is just a nightmare for IRL streamers. But I guess there are some situations where you don't need consent. If someone's famous enough that there's a public interest in their activities, or if their image is being used for educational or cultural purposes, you're genuinely fine. But sitting in a restaurant cheating on your wife is apparently a no-go, or at least documenting that. And I guess the same thing goes for like if you're photographing a public event or parade or ceremony where people, you know, can reasonably expect to be captured on camera. That's fine. But the critical part of this case is that using someone's image for advertising or commercial promotion absolutely requires explicit consent. If your business is trying to make money off of someone's likeness, you need their permission in writing. And even if he appeared for less than a second, you still need his consent. So since the video was created and posted for promotional purposes, no consent was obtained, and his image was still identifiable enough to generate real consequences, you know, the end of his marriage, then the issue isn't really screen time or intent, but the commercial use of an identifiable person's image along with the damage that followed. So from a pure legal standpoint in Italy, the restaurant might actually be in trouble here. It's also worth noting that this case might actually be viewed pretty differently in the US, as American law tends to be far more permissive when it comes to filming in public or semi-public spaces, especially when someone appears incidentally in promotional content. Obviously, there are limits around the commercial use, but they're looser compared to Europe. So my understanding is as long as the person isn't a public figure being used as an endorsement and there's no reasonable expectation of privacy, courts of the US often side with businesses or treat these disputes as minor issues best resolved by removing the content, not by awarding damages. And this raises a very fair question. Should businesses be allowed to film customers and use that footage for profit without permission? I don't think so. I don't think that's a good idea, unless it was in a very open or public space. You know, there is a lot of nuance here, but it is interesting because the entire marketing industry is very different now. Before, you had to have, like, you know, high budget commercials, you had to have the consent forms being signed and all that just to, you know, be blasted out on TV. But now you have mom and pop shops just filming for their TikTok accounts and then posting it on their TikTok, not really expecting too much. The cost of this film or the advertisement was essentially nothing, the cost of the iPhone that filmed it. So like, there's not like big budgets at play. And then often these like mom and pop restaurants, they don't have, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars or even tens of thousands of dollars to reward someone in a lawsuit. They'll just go bankrupt. So it's very finicky. So I would definitely not be surprised if we start seeing way more lawsuits about stuff like this in the future. So I guess from the restaurant's perspective, they were just filming some harmless commercial, but that turned out to be like the main focal point of a divorce case. But the public reaction to the story has been kind of all over the place because a lot of people think the lawsuit is extremely absurd. They argue that the guy is trying to blame the restaurant for his problems that he created himself. Like, if he didn't cheat, he wouldn't be getting divorced. Obviously, there's a lot more nuance involved there. Who knows what's going on behind the scenes in that relationship? But still, yeah, you shouldn't be cheating. So then you have the other side of the internet saying, well, just because he's a bad husband doesn't mean, you know, the business can violate his privacy rights. So, I mean, yeah, like I said previously, both sides can be true here. He can be wrong for cheating, and the restaurant can be wrong for using his image without permission. But at its core, this is definitely a new age problem. This is interesting. We didn't have to deal with this stuff 50 years ago, because you could technically boil it down to one single TikTok derailed someone's entire life. Now, obviously, that's oversimplifying it. Obviously, it was his decision that derailed that life as well, but hey, it is what it is. But essentially, a whole bunch of people are saying this one TikTok destroyed this guy's life. And if that's true or not, I don't know, because, I mean, obviously, his decision was involved there as well. But right now, Kodakons is pushing forward the lawsuit and considering involving Italy's privacy watchdog if the restaurant doesn't settle. And we don't have information yet about how the restaurant is responding. They might fight it, or, you know, they might settle quietly. Who knows? But one thing's for certain, in today's reality, you better be on your best behavior because you have no idea when someone's filming you with an iPhone. So I guess the best way to avoid all of this is just live authentically. Don't have some secret double life because that just sounds exhausting. But either way, if you're new here, feel free to subscribe, drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.